Of course, a big day down at Flemington. It was the AAMI 1997 Victorian Derby, and what a sensational day of racing in front of just over 64,000 people at the Flemington racecourse. The Derby was run and won, and a little bit of an upset, but of course the three main races on the day were the Derby, the Salinger, and of course the McKinnon Stakes. We were able to catch up with a few of the jockeys after the race, but joining me now to have a look at the Derby is Kel O'Rourke. And Kel, bit of an upset.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. There was a little bit of bias as far as front runners were concerned this afternoon. Thank goodness the rain held off. When we arrived at Melbourne this morning, it was showery and overcast. The track was upgraded just after the third race to slow. And just getting back to that front runner's bias, Antiquity, the winner of the Carbine Club in the first, made it 5 from 5 after sitting just off the pace, and was driven to the lead inside the last 100 for Wayne Harris. The Shivers Regal was taken out by Dantelage. She proved that her win at Caulfield last week was no fluke, and Cassidy went for the lick of his life at the 200, and it was a good win by Dantelage in the Shivers Regal. The Lean Cuisine Quality, back slapper, another front run. The front runner this time, Stephen King, went to the lead a long ways from home and virtually led throughout for a very tidy effort in race 3. The Hardy Brothers Classic was won by Prairie. A good ride by Darren Gauci. He ducked back to the fence, almost the shades of the cutaway at Randwick, but in the reverse way of going, of course, and Prairie getting there to score a good win in the Hardy Brothers Classic. The Qantas Wakefield Stakes, the Group 2 for the 3-year-old fillies, and a very good win here to Kensington Palace. She was travelling a long, long way from home, and Oliver took off 300 out, and she had the race all parcelled up. But the main one was the Derby, as Greg mentioned, the 142nd running of the AAMI Victorian Derby, Australia's oldest classic race, prize money of $1 million. And it was a terrific run as far as Second Coming was concerned, or those that backed Second Coming, was beaten out of sight at his most recent outing in the Norman Robinson at Caulfield behind Brave Prince last week. But once again, this front-running track bias aided horses that were able to lead or race handily throughout on the speed, and Second Coming skipped away after it showed plenty of early toe to lead with Mustang Red. Tie the Knot looked to have its measure, 250 out, when Beedman elected to go to the outside. Was clearly going a lot better than Encounter. He just seemed to struggle for mine to get to 2,500, and was coming off a very tough run in the Cox Plate last week. But Second Coming, a good ride by Charles. He got right over the horse over the last 100, and it did, if anything, hold Tie the Knot in the run to the line, and it won the 142nd AAMI Victorian Derby. Calistair, he was probably doing the best of the rest to get home late for third. Gold Guru made a short, sharp dash at them. Brave Prince, well, he just didn't handle the conditions at all today. Was listening into Mick Dittman, talking to some of the press guys, and he gave Brave Prince a couple of slaps around the hindquarters, and the horse really just dug in and really didn't go a yard today. Mustang Ranch was on the pace for a while, dropped out. Prince Dandan and Dennis Araya were never chances. Calistair, as I mentioned, probably a fair run. Schubert was getting home well, but the winner was just far too good. I'd suggest the horse to follow out of the race, clearly Tie the Knot. Going to put everyone on to Timmy Underwood now, who's had a big day on the punt, and Tim's going to tell us about the Louis McKinnon Stakes.
Yeah, real big day, Kel, just like you. Of course, the Louis Vuitton McKinnon Stakes Group 1 over the 2,000 metres. Volante went out a fairly firm favourite. Of course, the track drying and everyone thinking that he'd be on the pace from barrier 3, and he was. And 200 metres out, he hit the front, but he was attacked from all angles. Ebony Grove, Shane Dye, stuck to the rail, and that was definitely the fastest part of the track, as Kel said. And he proved too good in the run home. Paid about $10 too on the tote. Number 7, Ebony Grove, and he's come right back in contention for the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday. A couple of eye-catching runs in the race. Istedad ran a nice race for second, and I imagine Peter Hayes will be persisting with Istedad in the Cup. He said he had to show something in the McKinnon, and I think he did that, so I'm sure that he'll be running in the Cup on Tuesday. Volante, he's been up for a while now. He ran a gallant third once again, but as I said, he was attacked from all angles with 200 to go. Dane Ripper ran a nice race. She was caught on the worst part of the track. She ended up finishing 5th or 6th, but definitely no disgrace, and showed that her Cox Plate win was no fluke. And the other big run of the race, definitely without a doubt, is Marble Hall's Watch. Keep your eyes on him. Lee was extremely happy with his run. So too was Damien Oliver after the race. He was only beaten less than a length, I think you might find, on the line, number 8, Marble Halls, and going into the Cup on Tuesday, if the sting's out of the ground, he's definitely one to follow. But I think this is the race that most people will be talking about for the next 2 days in terms of the Melbourne Cup. In previous years, Paris Lane won it and, of course, ran second in the Melbourne Cup. The Andacross likewise, Let's Elope, Empire Rose going back further, and Atalac. So definitely a pointer towards the Melbourne Cup, but all honours with the winner, Ebony Grove, and if he can be ridden quiet as he was today, he's definitely a chance going into the Melbourne Cup. The other big race of the day, the Salinger Stakes, of course, last year taken out by Gold Ace. I don't think we saw Gold Ace in this field, a Gold Ace in this field, and Greg, once again, it was a rank outsider in Natois.
Yes, Natois, definitely. For Paul Perry, of course, Chris Schultz did spec this one on Greg Burke's Saturday morning program a few weeks ago, and a little disappointing when behind Hot as Hell, beating 1.5 lengths. He went down to the inside of the track that was drying out faster than the outside track, and Lenny Beasley and Danny Nicklick aboard Natois and Rocky respectively decided to show a few more brains than the other jockeys and went to the inside fence, and Rocky led for majority of the race, with Natois just catching him in the last 50 metres or so, and an eye-catching run for third from Flavour and Darren Gauci, who didn't have it too bad a day. There was an absolute mountain of money for Rock U. He was back from 10s into 6s, and it was probably a little bit disappointing. I think a lot of punters expected him to hold off the tiring, well, you'd have to say the tiring Natois, but Rocky has obviously hit the wall a little bit harder. A good run in the race from the local horse, Regal Curator, for his first start in a Group 1 race. He led on the outside division, probably knocked up towards the 300-metre mark, and probably ran in the second half of the field. But look, don't leave him out of your trifectas and your Cornellas as he goes through his, some further Group 1s. Ken Callaghan has to be pleased with the run, and it wasn't a bad ride by little Bobby Alyssa. Poetic King, a little bit disappointing. He was 4 to 1 or so in the market, and really never got in the race. Neither did Cut Up Rough. Pengula was disappointing. Ruffle, she didn't show any of her customary pace. Brad's on the Western Australian didn't put in a bad effort. Rock U, as we spoke about. Another excuse, the track conditions didn't suit. He got too far back. Rye Hero wasn't a bad run. Regal Centre, well, it's probably looking for a little bit further, along with Royal Discard. And as I said, Regal Curator wasn't a bad run. But Natois, definitely good ride by Lenny Beasley. Interestingly enough, Tony, Natois, ridden by Len Beasley. Len having his first, or winning his first race in Melbourne, and just happens to be a Group 1 event. So that just about wraps up the main racing today at Flemington. I hope everyone's had a good day back there in Canberra and back plenty of winners. But this is Kelly O'Rourke, Tim Underwood and Greg Hayes signing off from the Derby, the Saturday night scoreboard.